Hi guys, it's Kelly Shalal. Today I'm jumping on as promised. I sent out a questions box a few times recently, and some of the most common questions I received were kind of about me becoming an RD and eating healthy and things like that. So that's what I'm going to cover. If you have live questions, I will try to catch them on there. I will also be reposting this on the blog should the video save like it's supposed to, so you can always watch it there. We're gonna do this now, even though my neighbor has now decided to mow his lawn, so you know, hopefully it's not too loud. So most of you guys know I am a registered dietitian, and I think that the assumption there when you are a dietitian is that you're just like, you've always eaten really healthy, you're super into health, you're just blah, blah, blah. And that was not the case for me at all. I was actually a business major undergrad, and I subsisted off of like whatever was in the cafeteria, etc. I was mostly raised by my grandmother, and her idea of cooking was things like fried Spam, lots of canned vegetables. Like, I think we mostly ate canned vegetables. What else? Bacon. I mean, even in the canned green beans, she would put like sugar and bacon in the boiled water. So I don't know if she like opened green beans and then boiled them to heat them out of a can. So that's pretty much where I was coming from. I had no idea how to cook. And around my senior year of college, I had gained like 15, 20 pounds, and I wanted to lose weight. And so I was also taking this biochem class at the same time because I was a business major and a pre-med minor, because I knew I was interested in the medicine field, but nothing really jumped out to me. Like, no profession that I knew of at that time really jumped out to me. So I decided to just like take OChem and chemistry because I don't know, I was crazy. And then also accounting and all those business admin classes. So anyways, so in order to lose weight, I knew my friend counted calories, and she was pretty thin most of her life. So I thought, okay, I'll do that. And so I was doing that for a little while on paper, and then I was like, there has to be an easier way. And so I scoured the internet, found some online calorie counters, and plugged in my information, and of course set it to like want to lose weight as fast as possible, and it spit out back a number 1,200. And so I lost the weight by counting calories and eating only 1,200 calories, which was hard, but you know, I was a hard-headed college student, so I just did it. And I just thought that's like how you lose weight. And then I kind of noticed that I had to continue eating that low calories in order to keep the weight off. And I was like, okay, well, whatever. And as I started to count calories, I started to realize that things like vegetables and, you know, healthy foods were lower calories and you could eat more. And so I started slowly incorporating more healthy foods, but I was not paying attention to, you know, how much protein I was eating or anything like that. I was literally just looking at the calorie number. And at first I started incorporating things like steamed Brussels sprouts, because my grandma had used to make those, and I would get like the little steamer bag ones and eat the individual portions. And then I started, you know, wanting to cook a little bit, and so I would try recipes out of like health magazines, Women's Health, Shape, etc. And that was always super, super intimidating. And I remember the first time I went to the grocery store to get fresh green beans, I'd actually never seen them before, ever. And I just like basically had a 2-year-old's diet. Like, I mostly just ate macaroni and cheese and pizza and whatever else is available in college. And that experience I still remember to this day, because I was like so overwhelmed by where the green beans would be, like where they would be, which kind I would get, how I would prepare them, you know. And I always think of that experience when I'm writing a recipe, because I know that like just because I say wash and trim green beans doesn't mean that you know how to do it, because I definitely did not. And so I got a little bit more interested, and I thought everything was really cool, and I thought I was being super healthy. And then I realized that there was actually a career. I like typed in like nutrition career or something, and it never even occurred to me that that could be a major or a career path or anything. And so I started researching and looking into, I didn't want to change my major and I found out what a registered dietitian was, and I knew that I didn't want to change my major because I was already 3/4 of the way done with 3/4 of the way done with school. I was like a junior, and so I thought that I would go up instead of, you know, backwards or double major or anything like that. And so I started looking into master's programs. I was lucky that I had that minor because I had all the prereqs to become a registered dietitian. So I was also taking this biochem class at the time, and I think that's where I really got excited about it, because it was all about like, it was like the very, very basics, as far as basic biochem can be, of like Krebs cycle and diabetes, insulin, etc. So it very much corresponded to like what I thought was happening as far as me dieting goes. So I really started to just learn a little bit about health and change my diet very, very, very slowly. And it was good. I really enjoyed the nutrition. I started taking nutrition electives as part of my minor. You only get a few electives as part of your minor. And I started learning more and more, and I kind of felt like I was good at it, like I was getting, you know, top grades in the classes. So I decided to go become a registered dietitian, and I did not look into it probably as much as I should have, but I'm still happy with my decision. Obviously, I love what I do, just the career path. I really had to make my own career path to do what I want to do. But anyways, so that was kind of a little bit about how I became a registered dietitian. As far as my weight loss story goes, you know, I had lost at that point like 20 pounds, and I was keeping it off, and I went to grad school. And in grad school, where I was, you know, actually becoming a registered dietitian, I was still counting calories, and I was still counting calories to like 1,200 calories. And at some point I started gaining weight. And I now know what happened was when you count calories for too long, too low, your body kind of resets its set point. And so now 1,200 was my set point. And so eating 1,200 calories, I was gaining weight. Plus I was under an extreme amount of stress from grad school, etc., etc. So I kind of stopped counting calories and started eating a little bit more intuitively. And I kind of lost the 3 to 4 pounds that I had gained in grad school. And that was really the beginning of my shift in mindset behind, you know, changing from counting calories to more intuitive eating. It took a really long time to get where I am now, and a lot of ups and downs when it comes to more intuitive eating. You know, there were times where I was very, very, very crazy about food, and just felt like if I ate too many calories, or if, you know, what I would do is I would not eat when I was hungry and eat when I was full because I had X amount of calories left. It's just like not what calorie counting was intended. So I did learn a little bit from calorie counting as far as nutrition calorie goes, and healthy foods have less calories, blah, blah, blah. But it also kind of messed with my mindset, and also kind of messed with my metabolism to the point where I think it was one of the things that contributed to 5 years of amenorrhea. So when I got off the pill in grad school, I did not have a cycle again for 5 years. And that was despite what I did. Nutrition changes weight up and down. No matter what I did, it didn't come back for 5 years. And so I have a whole post on that. You can look at seed cycling under my Instagram stories, and you can read more about that journey and kind of what brought it back and all the different things that contributed to it. But definitely low calories was one of them. And so now my mindset, back up, I started the blog right when I did right after grad school, when I was doing my dietetic internship in Southern California, Eisenhower Medical Center. And I wanted to share, you know, that you could eat healthy, and I wanted to share more my journey, like you could eat healthy. And I knew that, you know, I was a registered dietitian and that I would be giving information as a registered dietitian, but I also wanted to share that I could, like, you can eat healthy and have a normal life and balance basically people tell me all the time, like, eating healthy isn't fun. And I wanted to show, like, eating healthy could be fun. And it doesn't have to be like this, like, gnawing, terrible feeling where you're just, like, chewing on celery sticks all day to lose weight. Because I had been there, kind of, and I had been on the other side of that, and I really wanted to just share that journey. And I just really love to learn to cook new and healthy things that, you know, were actually healthy and didn't really, you know, weren't drowned, like green beans drowned in butter and bacon grease, because that's how my grandma would have made it. She had this thing called cauliflower. It was cauliflower. Okay, to her it was cauliflower. But when I came home from college one time, I asked her for cauliflower soup. I'm like, Grandma, can you make cauliflower soup? Like, it was like a comfort food. And she was like, what do you mean cauliflower soup? I'm like, you know, with like the Velveeta and the butter. And she was like, oh no, that's just cauliflower. Dude, this was like a soup, like melted into cheese and butter. So yeah. So that was kind of where I was coming from. So I wanted to show that, yes, eat those comfort foods and have that balance, but also learning to cook healthy can still taste good, even if it's not soaked in Velveeta and butter, and just, you know, what I was doing and what I was eating. And I really love to write, although I wasn't really good at it to start with. A little bit better now, 5 years later, but I really wasn't that good at it to start with, and I had like 0 readers, so it was fine, other than my now mother-in-law and one of my best friends who was reading, so I had plenty of time to practice. But anyway, so that's kind of where the blog started, and then it kind of morphed into this journal of health and fitness, and then it kind of took off on its own when I went full-time into it. So I worked at, I'm like all over the place, but these are the questions I get. Like, where did you work? What did you do? How did you get where you are? You know, how did you start intuitive eating versus calorie counting, etc. So if you have more questions on that, jump in. But those are the kind of the questions I'm getting, so that's what I'm answering. So anyways, when I got done with that internship, the very first job I had was at WIC, and I worked there for a year, and I got married, etc., etc. I'd say probably during right before I got married, it was probably like the unhealthiest I have ever been in my life, as far as controlling with food and just being like, I thought I was eating intuitively, but really I was just using that as a mask to be even more strict and even more just like not eating. So I look at those pictures of me now when I got married, and I think, like, I actually, you know, you think that when you lose weight for your wedding that you will look at your pictures and be like, oh, I was so skinny, like I did so good. I look at those and I'm like, I was in a really bad place. Like, not a place that I'd want to revisit. I was emaciated and like running way too much, and just, anyways. So I worked at WIC for a year and a half. Was not my thing. I'd always intended to be in the health and fitness industry. Maybe good or bad considering my history with food, but whatever. And I took a job at Lifetime Fitness as a personal trainer and dietitian, and that is where I learned so much about the metabolism and health, and just weight loss and body composition change. And, you know, I had all the knowledge as a dietitian, but that really gave me the experience. And I really learned that in order to maintain and get the body composition that I wanted, I had to lift weights, so I couldn't just run all the time. I was like a cardio queen, and I had knee pain all the time, and blah, blah, blah. And at this point, I had actually gotten super injured running and couldn't sit for 2 years. So I just learned a ton about the metabolism, and that you have to lift weights, and that you have to, you know, you can't be too low carb for your hormones, because it will shut down your hormones. Some women are more sensitive than others, and I realized that I was very sensitive. And so I implemented carb cycling, which is something that I do with my clients now, and I just started fueling and feeding myself better. And the job was stressful. I have a post about that too, but the job was stressful in and of itself. And so I did end up leaving there. And at that point, I had gotten the blog just enough off the ground, and I had gotten enough sales and marketing experience in that position, because it was a sales position, that I decided to go full-time into the blog. And if you think I made any money at first, I did not. It was very difficult, but the stress went down significantly because I wasn't in a commission-based job, and I just really worked on building up the blog. And as far as that goes, I really responded to what you guys tell me that you like. So if you tell me you like recipes, or you tell me you like the day in the life photos or whatever, that's what I focused on. And you know, at first I have a lot of people following, so I did a lot of recipes and things like that that would bring people in. So maybe you found me from a recipe or whatever. But in the meantime, I really focused on fueling my body, learning to lift weights appropriately, not necessarily CrossFit, been there twice, hurt twice, not for me. So just learning to lift weights, lift heavier weights. You know, as a personal trainer, I became a personal trainer at Lifetime. I had a lot better idea of what form is and how to program a workout. And I just developed a better relationship with food and fitness. And I let go of a lot of my issues that I had with food. I just kind of didn't care about it anymore. And my body composition actually got better and better and better and better. My cycle came back, and it was just a really, really good thing, but it took me a long time to get there. Just like, you know, now I gained like 40 pounds in pregnancy, and I've gotten it all off, and this is month 7, so I'm just now like getting it off. And I have like 10 more pounds to go because I gained some weight before I got pregnant, the whole thing during the holidays. And that weight loss is very, very slow, just like my previous weight loss has been. And that is how I coach my clients, to take it slow, to have slow weight loss, not this super fast, eat 1,200 calories, ruin your metabolism thing. And it can be frustrating, but on the other side of that, it is extremely rewarding because it does, like, it's just not obsessive. It's not like, yes, I'm working on losing weight. Yes, I'm in weight loss mode, but I'm not obsessed about it. And those are just two totally different mindsets. And that's kind of, you know, how I make my recipes. They're balanced nutrition, but they're not obsessive. I like, you know, all those trendy health foods, but again, I'm not obsessed with it. So I don't know what else I can tell you other than that's a little bit about me. I also have, as I said, I also have a 7-month-old. So those of you who are just first meeting me, I did end up getting pregnant. I do have a 7-month-old son. It's wonderful. I spend my time with him and my dog Nala, who's a Rhodesian Ridgeback, and she's crazy. And my cat, Missy. I almost forgot her name. I've had her 8 years. What else? I don't know. If you guys have questions, I'm happy to take them. You can always leave a comment on this video or on the blog, but I've got to end this because one of my family members just got here and the dog's going crazy. So I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of the day. I would love to get to know you. You guys make it possible for me to do what I do all day long. I just obsessed with sharing recipes and just sharing what I'm doing in health and nutrition and connecting with you guys. And so hopefully it helps you know that, you know, I know where you're coming from. Even if you've never cooked a day in your life, I know where you're coming from. So have a good day, guys.